What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again with another Supercoach video. This time it is the NBL Round 15 review. Now, overall, not a bad week, not a great week. I think the big thing here is a lot of people have sort of finished their teams where they've gotten their core players and maybe they have one rookie on the bench that's a bit questionable. Where I have three, and that's the big problem. Getting an upgrade, it's huge. But look, we managed to come out and get a 543. It put us up 106 places to 1,888. Look, I think the biggest thing here is just the team value, 2.9 million. A direct comparison, I think, is the consensus team, which obviously I do run for the Supercoach hub. Obviously, it's not a separate account for me or anything. I just run it on the hub's behalf. Just do what the team want from the Discord. And I looked at that team value, and it's 3.3 million. And just looking at the teams, it's crazy. First of all, it's a really good team. I mean, they're absolutely flying. It's ranked 306 or something, so it's crushing. And I think the biggest thing there is actually my rank and the consensus team rank were very similar before the Bryce Cotton week. I think we were only a couple of hundred ranks apart. And they went Bryce, and I didn't go Bryce. Obviously, I fell back 100 ranks, and now they're in a position where they're just outside the top 300. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but we did know how much Bryce damage did. We know that, obviously, all the points you lost, let alone the cash gen he made, the captaincy, obviously that was pretty big for us. I think Bryce and probably Prather would be the biggest two misses if you miss them in the year. I do know. Sorry, excuse me. Shout out to the ladies' man, Corey Blackledge. Had Prather early, got rid of him when he had that little bit of a down run, and then one of those things that once you get rid of a player and they start going hot, you don't want to have to go back to them. You're like, no, it's fine, they'll regress, and then he just keeps going, and unfortunately he's been anti-potting him this whole time, and I reckon Prather would overall be my biggest killer for the season if you didn't have him at all. Most damage done. And then Cotton was pretty big as well. I think KD's probably number 2, Cotton maybe a number 3. It's hard to say, actually, because with Cotton were there many other good options on the week, and he was winning by such a large margin, where it's KD, it's beating Kel by 16 points is cool, but when Cotton's going 107 and the next best scorer is 78, he's putting 30 points on them, it's a lot more damage done. And he made a lot more money because he was down at 330k. I mean, obviously, KD made a ton of money starting at 277, but by the time he was really relevant, he'd already sort of earned his, a fair chunk of money. But yeah, very damaging players this year that if you just missed him, it really hurt. Obviously lost a lot of cash in through the year. But yeah, we're not going to keep reflecting on the year. This last week that wasn't a bad week. We went pretty hectic with this. If you guys remember my video last week, I was tossing up, do I bring in Weeze Camp? Yes, I know the round started, guys, but I just didn't have time to do it last night. I was tossing up bringing in Weeze Camp and McCarron, and I decided to actually sell KD to bring in Derek Walton Jr. and Cooks. Now, as you can see from my trades already, I've kind of reversed that a week later, but not quite. I think I kept the better premiums. This was a really hard decision to make because the rookies were definitely much better. I had an option where I could have kept KD out of the team, and I was looking at potentially Cam Oliver on the bench. And then I think I was just... Oh, God, I took a picture of this earlier. Sorry, I'm actually going to look at my pictures. Give me 1 second, because I didn't want to forget, but I've somehow forgotten 10 seconds into the video. Where is it? Screenshots. How do I not have a screenshot here? What's wrong with me? Here it is. So, yeah, it was going to be McCarron in for... McCarron was coming in for Zukarski with a bit of DPP action. I guess technically Oliver was coming in for Zukarski and McCarron was coming in for Cook. So, I was sort of still keeping roughly the same price players because Cook's and Oliver are very similar priced, and obviously McCarron and White are very similar priced. I think it was just about a form. Obviously, with Pepe out, I thought Oliver was a pretty easy get, but he ends up with a 7 last night, and what a good avoid that ended up being so far. But I think McCarron was an amazing buy, and just something that I wish I could have got, but unfortunately couldn't do it. But yeah, decided to go this route instead, where I actually sold Harrison and Cook. Now, I understand that Cook was probably going to be back this week, but he had a high break even. I needed to get Davis back in, and I had to sell one of my premium guards to do it. And out of hell, Derek Walton Jr. and Cook, like, it's a very easy answer for that. So Cook went out, Davis came in, Harrison went out, and Bairstow came in, and that's where we got the extra funds to up Cook, an extra 250k to Davis. Because, yeah, I mean, Davis is just so good. Honestly, watching him for 1 week and not owning him was so painful. Obviously, I watched the game, and I loved it. And owning Davis, I loved watching him every week. This is the first time I haven't had him in, like, a fair few weeks. I want to say, like, 4 or 5 weeks. And watching the game, I was naturally rooting for him and just being like, God, he's so good. And then, your brain clicks again. You're like, I do not own Davis. Oh, my God, please stop. But he's just too good. He's just too damn good. Gets to 59 on the single last week. Yeah, incredible. Obviously, last week I was looking at Wieskamp and McCarron instead of going Davis out to bring in Walton Jr. and Cooks. I think it was a lot better points overall because we get Walter Jr. on field instead of Cook, who scored 22. Walter Jr. at 71, so obviously huge discrepancy there. And then Cook on field with a 78, where I would have had the field. I think I was going to go with Wieskamp as a 56. So obviously 22 points there. So quite a significant difference in the on-field points. Obviously it meant that what did happen is I held White, who got a 20. McCarron got a 33, so not too much of a difference. But yeah, I think that was mainly the thing. It was mainly White versus McCarron because Wieskamp technically went to Cook because I was getting rid of Marshall no matter what. I think that was the decision. But yeah, awesome week. Obviously, Prather came out with, let's just look at this, the 118. So this is how the team actually looked. 118 from Prather was incredible. What a pod option. I just want to put out a cheeky shout out to our boy Chad Fantasy Phoenix. He actually brought in, I don't know if he brought in Adams, but he captained Adams, had the 12th highest score for the round, so incredible work from him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure usage rate actually ended up taking the whole weekly, so well done to him as well. But yeah, I think Prather actually he's an undervalued captain option in reality. He's had a lot of 40-point plus games. If we look at when he started getting good, so we go from around 10, it's 40, 42, 39, down game, 45, 44, 55, 33, which isn't even that much of a down game, 27. This sucks overall if you captain him and he got you 60. But at the same time, there's plenty of players that you'd be happy with that. If Hurt got you 60, that's expected. And then goes 51, 67. You look at that run, his consistency, his form, he's actually been a reliable captain option with upside in reality. I understand that we've had other options in other weeks, but last week he actually was a really good shout. I understand you're not expecting him to go 118, but just in the form he'd been in, if he came in with a 55 and a 33 and got you an 88, that would have been just as good. But yeah, the 118, the highest Supercoach score we've ever seen, incredible. Prather is in career best form, and this is what I was talking about. You just missing him was so much damage. If you had a Hurt on field over him, I think 65 or something. I don't even know if they had a double last week, but let's just say example, Hurt gets a 65. You get outscored by 53 points. That's so painful. That's usually the difference between a Peatling and a Cooks. There you go. There's 5 points right there, the difference. So that's incredible how much he was doing. But yeah, I couldn't stand not watching Davis. I decided I have to bring him in. He's the most reliable captain option. His floor is so high. We know that when he's getting 40s, you're almost disappointed, where other people, if they got a 40, you'd be happy with that. That's their ceiling sort of thing. So the point that his floor feels like 40, but he has the upside of 60 plus, yeah, it was too scary to go against him. So I decided to bring in Davis. I'm pretty happy with getting Cooks last week in reality. Yeah, the 44 from this week as well, really good. Adams bounces back to a 7, so kind of punishes those that had him, which was really weird in reality. I'm really hoping Zukowski gets up and plays. He hasn't played in the last 2 weeks, and I hate holding him, but just with his price point being 89k, there's nothing I can do with him. I have to put serious money into him to make him anyone of value or a good pick, and to actually do that, I don't know where I'm getting that money from. I'm taking it from a premium and downgrading a premium. Nah, it just doesn't make sense, especially on this run where we've got 2 doubles in a row. It's basically everyone has a fair playing field for the next 2 weeks. You just pick the best players. I'm not getting rid of Prather or Cook or Harrell or Davis or Kell. I just want the best players, and I want the best players on field. As I talked about it this week, at the end of the day, Prather outscored other premiums by such a significant margin that it was like better than having a low performing premium, so you didn't have like a Zukowski. Like, what happens if I had, let's say, Aldridge, got 33. Yeah, 33 extra points, but because of that, I had hurt because he's 100k cheaper, but then I lose like 50 points. It's just, yeah, overall, it's just been better having these guys. I understand this was a massive game, but yeah, I'm just happy with this team. This on-field team looks insane. I'm really excited for it. Zukowski was a game time decision, so I'm really hoping he gets up, even if it's for one game, hopefully. White in one game dropped to 20, which was really nice. I really want to get rid of White too, because unfortunately Josh Adams, who's come to the team, has just eaten all of his minutes, which we knew was the case. We always knew we had to get off White the second they got the import in. They got the import in. Unfortunately, they didn't announce they were even going to bring in an import until like 2 days after White had been locked into our team. Like, they'd already played the first game of the round, so that was super unfortunate there. But, no, he's done well, and he has been actually really good for Brisbane, and I think he deserves more court time. If Cook, for some reason, doesn't get up, though, then obviously that's a positive impact to White, because he's going to get minutes again. So that would be pretty nice. If Cook doesn't get up, Zukowski gets up. Obviously, White gets extended minutes. And, yeah, I ended up going Bairstow this week. I brought him in as a downgrade so that I could get KD in from Harrison. Now, that's a pretty big downgrade, but Bairstow's not a bad player. I think he's actually pretty good in reality for what he does. I think he's a talent. I know 9 and 10 isn't that impressive. Honestly, he had 10 in like the first 10 minutes of this game, I swear. But no, I like him. He's a good athlete, and I just didn't have much to choose from. I had to choose someone that was below 100k as a forward. I just didn't really have many options, and Bairstow's who I decided to fall on with PJC out. I'm hoping that maybe he can do a little bit more. Fall obviously came in with one big game, one small game. He dropped to 41, and then he dropped like a 15 or 13. He was someone that I was interested in getting on my bench just to hold some with a good fixture till the end of the year. But then I realized like New Zealand's fixture isn't even that good to the end of the year anymore, because since everyone technically has the double-double right now, you can't count these rounds. So then it comes down to the last 3 rounds, and they only have one double in the last 3 rounds, which like Perth have one double in the last 3 rounds. Like Adelaide have one double in the last 3 rounds. Like it doesn't actually matter getting these like New Zealand players. Oh, in fact, they have 2 doubles in the last 3 rounds. So sorry, we prefer Adelaide players. They're probably the guys with the best fixture right now. And then other guys you want to also take into account as Cairns players. I'm pretty sure they have 3 doubles right now, so they get the extra double, and then they have a single, then a double again in the final round when only Cairns and Illawarra have the double. So they're also premium players. But yeah, I guess, sorry, just comparing my team to the consensus team, just to give you guys retrospective like what 400k does. It's a very similar team. The difference is it's like you move Harrell out for I think, let's say Harrell went down to Oliver, so it's like another 150k, but with that extra 150k, it's like White goes to like Armstrong, Zukowski goes all the way up to Groves, Bairstow goes all the way up to well, we could technically say he would go up to Harrison. So we could say Harrell goes to Harrison, Bairstow goes to Oliver, which ended up being not that good. Zukowski goes to Groves, and White goes to Taron Armstrong. It's just such a good team to look at. I'm like, god damn. I just look at that and I go, it's basically my team, but it's just got bench options that are actually premium, which just puts my team in a position where it's like Zukowski's not going to outscore Groves. White's not going to outscore Armstrong, most likely. Bairstow might actually outscore Oliver, so that's not too bad. But you're just playing with that weakened bench. But yeah, as I said, I guess in this instance, the only upgrade is that I've got Harrell over Harrison, which may not even be much of an upgrade. They're both top-tier premiums. I think Harrell just has that higher ceiling. And they both have actually pretty similar floors, that low 20 mark. So hopefully Harrell can come out and do me some dividends here. But yeah, I think the on-field team's really strong, so if they can all perform, get some decent performance out of the guys that are on the bench, it doesn't have to be insane. Peatley obviously scored a 3 and then came with a massive 30, but technically if they all went like 20 plus, I would be like more than happy with that. That's like good enough in my books. I'd like Peatley to try and get 30 plus because he's been a bit better, but like Bairstow, Zukowski, White, they all go 20 plus. I'm very happy with that. So yeah, that's how the team's looking, guys. Bit of a mess. What are my plans for like next week? I've only got 17k in the bank. It's a big question. I need to get off Zukowski, but I can't really go to anyone unless even Aldridge is like 100k more. It's so hard to get to anyone. I kind of need to get off White with, unfortunately, Adams in the team. And I don't even know if I can hold Bairstow for very long, because with PJC coming back next week, does that just instantly impact him? Obviously, Mojave King got injured though as well, so yeah. Look, we'll figure it out next week. But best of luck to everyone this week. If you had any of those Melbourne players, if you went for a White, if you had a Delhi, if you had a Low, if you had an Illy for some reason, like, just awesome work there, team. But till next time, I appreciate all of you for tuning in, liking and subscribing for your consistent injection of Supercoach content directly into YouTube feed. My Twitter will be down below, where I did release saying that I would be doing a video today a little bit later, because I just didn't have time to do it last night, unfortunately. So yeah, jump into there, follow along there, and until then, peace later.